We are halfway into the Great Smoke 2025, and I promise you a power-packed second half. Coverage for the Great Smoke 2025 will continue shortly. But first, hey, what do you call a night with a sense of humor? Sir laughs a lot. Ow. I got nothing.
Fast this time is going. I hope it's as exciting for you guys at home as it is for us, but it is just spectacular. That quartet, I mean, these guys are playing so beautifully. The place is packed. I mean, you should see Whiskey Row. The line is all the way over here to the set. The line for food has been outrageous. Now, what's fortunately for the VIPs behind me, they have a dedicated food line that we were also allowed to jump in on. I just pounded a little bit of penne pasta with some sausage, a little Parmesan on top. It was spectacular. But Kim, I believe, is standing at the food section now. The food is always great here at the Great Smoke. Kim, what is cooking this Great Smoke 2025?
I'm sorry, my goblet was full. My apologies.
Your
good
goblet
sirs.
floweth over, my love.
So, if you've never come to a Great Smoke, I hope if you do come next year, make sure your belly is empty because we are going to fill it. The food here is always amazing, and I'm lucky enough, I have a special treat for everyone. I am going to have a bit of food, and I believe I also am going to put someone into knighthood, if you will allow it. So I'm going to sit down. I'm going to have a little bit of food. And lucky for me, if anybody has been here for years, you all know the Phoenix Lounge. They call in when we were virtual, and they all fly over here. So introduce yourself.
I'm the president of the Phoenix Lounge Cigar Club. We're rolling deep from Dallas, Texas. We come every year. We have a great time.
And how was the food? What did you eat today, and how was it?
I had the pork and the chicken, and they're both awesome.
I love it. I didn't get to eat at all today. I've just been running around like a crazy person. Could I steal like just one morsel of delicious food? Oh, I love pasta. I am a carb lover.
As always, the tradition.
So delicious. So delicious. So I do have something that I have to offer you as Kim Keeney. I would like to anoint you as a knight today. Would that, in any way, would it be possible? I have my sword with me. Okay, you must stand up. You must get on one knee. I will approach you. And my good sir, I do anoint you as Sir Phoenix forever from this point forward. You are now Sir Phoenix. Congratulations, you are a knight in the Great Smoke history. I'm very proud of you. You are the first knight that I have anointed. There may be more. Keep looking out for it. I'm so.
Thank you.
Do you feel different now that you've been anointed?
Kim, I feel blessed, and I don't know. I feel anointed. I didn't know what that felt like before right now, but I'm like feeling the anointment.
Guys, you gotta come. You come here, I guarantee you come to the Great Smoke, you're gonna get anointed, you're gonna get fed, you're gonna have drinks, you're gonna eat all the food you could possibly imagine, and you're just gonna have a great time. You're gonna meet 500 friends. It's just the best. Michael, do you have anything going up on the stage at all? Or is it just me wandering, trying, wait, should I find somebody else to anoint? Who else should I anoint? I don't know. Let's go around and see. Oh, excuse me, sir. Excuse me, sir. I have to anoint you as a knight in the Phoenix Club, and this is going to be, if you wouldn't mind, please kneel for me. And I am going to anoint you, Sir Cigar. I'm so pleased. Thank you. You are now anointed. There has only been 2 anointments that have happened so far. I feel very blessed, and I appreciate the honor.
Thank you, Your Highness.
Oh, Your Highness. Oh my gosh, do I get a crown? Michael, do you have some stuff happening on stage? Because I see you in a throne, and I'm jealous. I have not gotten on the throne, not once yet.
Ladies and gentlemen, welcome back to the main stage. It's the Great Smoke 2025. I'm Michael Herklatz, and I have the great pleasure of sitting down with the one and only Nimish Desai. Nimish, what's going on, man?
Brother, I'm just glad to be here. Abe and the Smoke King crew, amazing job they did.
You know, I think everybody knows you, but I don't know that everyone knows just how long you've been doing this and you've been involved with the company. You date back before the Rocky Patel brand. You go back to the Indian Tobacco days, which started in the mid 90s.
In 96. 95, actually.
1995. That's 40 years?
30
years.
Your math's
I'm a
pretty
drummer, not a math major, bro. You know, I'm lucky I got to meet you a long time ago. I've watched the Rocky Patel story happen. My first trip to Honduras, you were my host.
Had a good time. Yes. A lot of fun.
I really think you guys are probably the hardest working family in the premium cigar industry. But I want to talk just a little bit about you. Prior to joining the company in those early days, what was Nimish doing?
Believe it or not, I'm an accountant by trade. So I went to college, got my degree in accounting, and my master's at University of Kansas. So I was a bookkeeper, and that's actually how I started with Rocky.
So were you Rocky's first bookkeeper?
Yeah, I was doing all the books for Rocky Patel in the beginning. And then I think early 2000, 2001, he came up to me and said, listen, I can't do this all by myself. At that time, Michael, I used to smoke maybe 1 cigar a month. I just wasn't into cigars. He goes, you got to go down to the factories. I need help. You know, I can't do this all on my own. So I went down there and learned as much as I could, still learning to this day. And now I'm fortunately, I'm smoking 6 to 8 cigars a day.
And always Rocky Patel, except for this moment. And this is one of those things that I love about our industry so much. You know, you look at other industries and competitors never spend, meaningful time together. Our industry is the opposite. So I just gave you a Ferio Tego Suma, and tell me what you just gave me.
So I gave you the Rocky Patel Emerald. We just came out with it in November. It's a San Andreas wrapper with Honduran and Nicaraguan cigars, medium to full-bodied, rich and complex, but this Suma is delicious.
Are you digging it? Oh, it's great.
It's delicious. And that's the beauty, Michael. Even though we're competitors, we're friendly competitors, and we share cigars. That's awesome.
Let's move. So the original brand was Indian Tobacco. And once again, I was fortunate enough to be there as there was a decision to transition from Indian Tobacco to a brand called Rocky Patel.
Right.
And just to put this in historical context, it's probably 2004, 2005.
3 or 4, I think.
Yeah. And it was a whole group of retailers, couple consumers. We're out in the Hamptons, at Jonathan Drew's in-laws or something, right?
Drew Estates, yes,
Right.
it was.
Who are also in their infancy. Yeah. So we're all out in Long Island, and Rocky has all these cigars laid out, all naked. We're doing the cigars were naked, not Rocky, of course. We're doing this blind tasting of these different blends. We select these 2 great blends, and Rocky makes this announcement to this intimate group that he's going to sunset Indian Tobacco, and he is going to launch a new cigar brand called Rocky Patel. And everybody burst out laughing because no one believed that the name Rocky Patel could sell cigars.
Well, I'll tell you this. So I think when he came back from the New York trip, he told me, everyone's saying I should change my name to Rocky Patel. And quote unquote, excuse my French, my first words, who the fuck's gonna smoke a Rocky Patel? I think I was wrong.
But that opinion was shared. And fast forward, let's say 2004, 2005, when Rocky Patel launched, not only did the brand launch, but Rocky the man launched. And he hit the road for 300 and something nights a year for probably almost 10 years. He went out and engaged with consumers and did events and just night after night after night after night built the brand. But talk a little bit about those early days trying to create, against a lot of skepticism, the authenticity and legitimacy of the brand Rocky Patel.
So, Michael, what had happened, really the reason we changed from Indian Tobacco to Rocky Patel, when we were Indian Tobacco, our product was very inconsistent. Everybody loved Rocky, and when he went to do an event, the product sold, then it just sat on the shelf. And we were learning. We didn't know a lot about tobacco in those days, and as we learned, our product was getting more and more consistent. And so we had to change the name of the company. Again, I didn't know if Rocky Patel was the right name, but it worked out. And it was just due to the consistency in the products, and especially with working with the Plasencia family. They also, because when they started making cigars, they did it during the boom. And they were just making inexpensive cigars for the catalog houses. So they didn't know either really what to do. And now look at them. They got one of the best brands in the country.
Historically, you've relied on those contract manufacturing relationships with the Plasencias, with others during Indian Tobacco. But in the last few years, there's now a Rocky Patel factory. It's located in Nicaragua.
It's called Tavacusa. So it's our boutique factory. We do about 14,000 cigars a day, but some of our greatest ratings are coming out of that factory in Tavacusa.
And how do you decide what gets made in Nicaragua and Tavacusa versus what gets made in Honduras, let's say?
So when we're looking something on the mild to medium side, we're going mainly with the Honduran because the Jamaican tobacco has that sweetness. It's a milder tobacco. When we're looking for something in the medium to full-bodied range, we're working with our stuff in Nicaragua, especially the Esteli tobaccos.
You and Rocky are, of course, cousins.
Yes.
And it was after you joined the company, some 5-8 years later, that your other cousin, Nish, joined in the fun.
True. I think Nish started 2003 or 2003 or 2. I'm not sure.
I think I wrote that down somewhere. But anyway, so now this is really becoming a family affair.
It is, and a lot of fights, unfortunately.
So talk about that dynamic. I mean, we know what a family dynamic is, and sometimes things are great, and sometimes you disagree, but you can always, leave your family and go to work, which is a nice break. Well, you can't.
We can't.
You have to stick with your family. Talk a little bit about that family dynamic, and how has it evolved over the years from the early days of trying to build Rocky Patel to now really sitting on a serious empire and trying to continue to move in that direction?
So there's pros and cons, right? As a family member, you probably sacrifice a lot more family things for the business. But Michael, really at the end of the day, look, we argue. But when Rocky and I argue, within 5 minutes we're done and hey, what do you want to do tonight? Nish now doesn't argue as much, but when he gets a little upset, it lingers for a day or two. It really takes him a minute to get over it. But we know Rocky Patel's the brand, so at the end of the day, Rocky makes those final decisions. We hash it out, but at the end of the day, Rocky makes the final call.
When you look back, do you miss the days of accounting? Do you miss the corporate 9-to-5 life of that?
Not one bit. Well, first of all, we're not corporate, right? We're a family-owned business, but man, bean counting, I definitely don't miss it. We got a bean counter who's a pain in everybody's butt, right? The CFOs are always
So it's nice not to be the bad guy now.
Yeah, they're always complaining, don't spend here, don't spend that, and that's their job. They got to watch what we spend.
You have a special cigar that you made just for the Great Smoke called the Joust.
Renaissance Joust, yeah.
Which is 2 different cigars in one
box. So
box.
I got a box here. I'll show
So
you.
walk us through. What is this project?
So we did it. We have a brand called Renaissance. And since this is the Renaissance, Abe and I were talking. And I said, Abe, why don't we do a Renaissance Joust, 5 cigars you blended and 5 cigars Rocky blended. So there's actually 2 blends in there. One says Honest Abe and the other one says Rocky Patel. And the Rocky cigar is a Habano Oscuro. Abe is a San Andreas wrapper, and they both have pure Nicaraguan fillers from Esteli and Condega. So
And these are made in Nicaragua or in
in
Honduras?
our factory in Tavacusa. Abe's cigar is on the fuller side of medium, and Rocky's is a true medium.
And Rocky's is also box pressed, and
Rocky's
Abe's
a
is
box
round.
press, and Abe is round.
Very cool. I also want to share with the room.
Should have done a Lancero for Abe now. He's so skinny.
You broke a little news earlier today. For those of you who aren't obviously following the live broadcast, earlier I interviewed Stephen Fonte from Yellowstone Bourbon, and then we made an announcement while we were live, and Nimish joined us. You want to talk a little bit about this project that you're about to launch?
Sure. I think a lot of you are enjoying the Yellowstone bourbons. They make some great juice. So I think about 3 years ago, we met Stephen Fonte and Stephen Beam on a golf course. And Steve Fonte is just a big cigar smoker. We were talking, and you could see their passion for making great bourbon. We said, why not do a cigar together? So we're doing a Yellowstone brand blended by Rocky Patel. And what's cool about it, Michael, is all the tobaccos, the filler, the binder, the wrapper, we put in their barrels for 5 or 6 months. We've just finished rolling the cigars. Now they'll rest in the barrels for another 2 months. And we're going to ship them first up into Florida, and also they'll be in their distillery in Kentucky.
And when can we expect, is that going to be a regular production or is that limited?
Yeah. The goal is to make that a regular production. Also, it all depends on the demand of the consumer.
And when do we think that's going to make its way?
I think June or July, those cigars will be in some of the liquor stores and cigar bars throughout Florida and at their distillery.
When we met, Rocky Patel was doing 1 million, 2 million cigars maybe.
Not even, but
Not even.
yeah.
Now tens of millions of cigars sold globally around the world. As you guys sit around your table on a Sunday afternoon, how are you thinking about growing Rocky Patel for the future?
So we have a lot of room for growth in our opinion, right? The one thing, we have a boutique factory in Nicaragua, but we're literally in 10 or 12 other buildings. So we also grow our own tobacco, and we have the land there. Our goal now is to build a factory. We're just waiting for the country to stabilize a little more before we invest dollars. But I think once we invest in that factory in Nicaragua, we're really going to make some even better things than we are now. So that's the future, is have our own factory, big factory in Nicaragua.
Nimish, you make great cigars. You have a great, great family. I'm enjoying this Emerald now. I look forward to trying the Joust. We got 30 seconds left. You've come to this event for years and years. It gets better and better and better. Why do you keep coming back to the Great Smoke?
For the consumers. I mean, these people are awesome. Abe's got a pretty great staff, don't get me wrong, but these guys come here, they love it, have a great time, and they just support the Great Smoke.
Ladies and gentlemen, Nimish Desai from Rocky Patel Cigars. Let's give it up
Thank you.
for Nimish. And if you're following at home, we'll be back right after this.
My boys over there. Roger, what's up, bud?
Can I get it with that one?
The park is never more than a pour away. Yellowstone, bourbon for all.
We're extremely excited to be using the Rabbit Air A3 with its odor remover filter, which is designed to effectively reduce cigar smoke and associated odors, keeping the lounge fresh. When we received this, we were immediately astounded by its sleek design and how functional it is. One of the most important things is we can optimize the floor space because the A3 can be mounted either right side up or upside down. The Starry Night black panel combines the artistic elegance with cutting-edge air purification, which complements the ambiance of any high-end cigar lounge or personal space.
Welcome back, everybody. Welcome. Do we have one? There we go. Welcome back, everybody, to the main stage, Great Smoke 2025. We are live in person. We're live streaming on YouTube and Facebook, so make sure if you're following along, you share it, you like it, and you comment. I am sitting with Mr. Michael Knowles. Let's give it up for Mr. Michael Knowles. Michael, I enjoy watching you on television. I enjoy your perspective. I can also tell that you really have a very deep-rooted passion for clearly literature, philosophy. You strike me as an old soul. Like you definitely wore a suit in elementary school, right? Like for sure, were you that kid? Like definitely. You studied acting at Stella Adler, which isn't exactly regular theater. I mean, this is serious character study theater. And so you strike me as someone that is really has great reverence for tradition. And I think it's important to bring you up to speed that our industry also has a tradition, and that is that most celebrity cigar projects go directly into the ashtray of history. And so you have come up with a cigar brand, Mayflower. And before we even get into you or what you do, I just want to give you an opportunity to talk about this project, talk about this cigar specifically, and then talk a little bit about how it has been to go from passionate consumer to now brand owner.
Yes, you're so right when you say celebrity cigars usually are not very good and they don't go very well and they disappear quickly. So I'm hoping that part of the reason that Mayflower has been successful is I'm just not that big a celebrity. So maybe that's my luck, is had I been really famous, then it might not have worked. But before I was working in politics, before I was working in media, I loved cigars. When I was 15 years old, I had my first cigar down in southern New Jersey on the Jersey Shore, and it was there
we got some Jersey people here. Where are the Jersey
fans.
people? All right, let's give it up for New Jersey.
I don't want to give out too much information, but I remember learning when I was a teenager that I was in fact conceived on the Jersey Shore, as were many of us, many such cases. I was down there once for a family vacation. A family friend gave me a cigar and a bottle of port. And I never liked cigarettes. My mother smoked about 1,000 cigarettes a day. But I said, I'll try this cigar. That's a different kind of thing. And I loved it. I immediately loved it. The next year for Christmas, my mother bought me a box of cigars, and she said, what do you want? And I said, I really liked the Oliva Serie O. I'd like a box of that. Great smoke, the Robusto format. And so she gave them to me, and sadly, my mother died not long afterward. And I still had half this box of cigars. And I said, well, I got to save it. It's a very special box to me. I ended up going to college. I wrote my college admissions essay about how much I loved cigars. I called it The Count of Monte Cristo, a little play on words. And when I got to college, I didn't really have any money, so I started a cigar club, the Society for Intellectual Growth and Reinvigoration, Cigar. And I fooled the administration. They paid for my cigars. And after I got out of college, I wrote a cigar review of one of Nick Melillo's cigars. And
wait, where's Nick Melillo? Is he here?
There he is.
Big shout out. There you go, Nick. Round of applause for Nick.
So I was sitting in LA, and Tabernacle, I guess, had come out. I was smoking. I said, this is great. I wrote a review. I sent it into Daily Wire. These are friends of mine. I was already working there a bit. And they didn't run it, but they said, this guy has something to say.
You submitted a cigar review to the Daily Wire. Like most people have a blog, take a photo. You said, no, I think I will submit this for national
Yeah. I said, you should run my cigar review. Now, they didn't run it. They didn't have a cigar column. But that actually convinced them to give me a show. So I was telling Nick this earlier. Oddly enough, his cigar in particular, but cigars generally, got me my show. Cigars have played a big role in my life. In fact, when I was a kid growing up, 15, 16, smoking cigars, we would go grocery shopping in the Bronx on Arthur Avenue. And I know that my friends from La Casa Grande are over here.
And Paulie's here
also.
too. Where's Paulie?
That's right. Yeah. And so I would go as a kid, and they'd have the guys rolling. I was not legally able to buy the cigars, so some of the guys would just give me cigars. And so it was just a big, big part of my life. And I said, I've had this dream, I want to have a cigar company. So I get to Daily Wire, and I said, I'd like to start a cigar company. They said, well, we don't really do that yet, whatever. Now, though I look Italian and am half Italian, on my father's side, they come from the Mayflower. So I said, I like this idea. I want it to be patriotic, and I like the idea of the Mayflower. Because Mayflower, it's traditional, it's patriotic, but it's not like, guns, shotguns, and monster truck cigars. It's a little more nuanced. A little more
graceful, yeah.
A little more graceful. And so I said, I like that idea, and I kind of knew what I wanted it to be. So anyway, to make a long story short, we were talking about doing a cigar. I was trying a bunch of samples from different people. They were terrible. And I told Daily Wire, I said, if the cigar is not going to be excellent, don't do it. It's not worth it. We make our money in media. We don't need the cigar company. That's not the primary way we make money. And I said, I want to put my name on it. I love this so much. I want it to be really good. And I had wanted to work with Oliva because of this connection with my first cigar box, my mother. Anyway, long story short, I was doing a talk show. One of the guys in the green room comes up. He says, Michael, I got to get you one of my white labeled cigars. It's from Oliva. I said, no way, and he makes the connection. Serendipitously, it all comes together. There's no way you could have planned it. And we came out with a product that I think is really excellent. And I waste a lot of Daily Wire's time when they're paying me to write and do podcasts. I waste a lot of their time on my cigar company. And I hope that's why the cigar company has been very successful, and I hope it's successful for many more years.
Have you had an opportunity to go to the factory? Have you been to Nicaragua?
Funny you asked that. I was supposed to get down there. I was planning to get down there. And there was a little bit of an issue with my visa.
Uh-huh.
Now, I don't know if it's because I'm conservative, I'm Catholic, a journalist, I don't know, something got, so I'm hoping that I'll be able to get down there soon. But I was stymied the first time I tried to go.
It's a spectacular opportunity to go and see it. So then what did that process look like? I mean, you're not a cigar maker, you're an avid cigar consumer, you had an idea of something that you wanted. How did you engage to work through blends to really find what that thing was?
I don't know anything about cigars other than what I like to smoke. That's all I know. And so I did know kind of what sorts of tobaccos I wanted to use. I knew what sorts of blends I wanted, even with the Mayflower name. There's a famous painting, actually not that famous, but it's a painting in the Plymouth Museum where it's the Mayflower in Plymouth Harbor, and the sky is orange, and you don't know, is it dawn or is it dusk? And I said, I really like this. Is the sun rising on America? Is the sun setting on America? We don't know. We never know. And so I said, I like the idea of a Mayflower Dawn. That's the Connecticut. Smoke that in the morning. And then the Mayflower Dusk, that's my evening cigar. So I knew I wanted a Connecticut. I knew I wanted a Habano natural cigar. And then we were playing with the blends a little bit. So for the Dusk, we landed Ecuador Habano wrapper, Sumatra binder, a little bit unusual, gives you unexpected, Nicaraguan filler. And then for the Connecticut, the Dawn, we have Connecticut wrapper, Cameroon binder, Nicaraguan filler. Also a little, it's not totally mild, it's a little below medium. And I said, okay, I know what I like, I know what I want to taste. I'm not a roller, I'm not a blender, I'm not a grower. I didn't grow up on the farms, my grandpa didn't come from Cuba. So what do I bring to the industry? And I thought, well, the one thing I can bring is a kind of experience. A lot of people I know listen to the shows. They'll say, Michael, you've convinced me that I should try cigars, but I don't know the first thing about it. And I'm too intimidated. I go into a lounge, all the guys are looking at me funny, I feel like I'm an idiot, I don't know what to pick. And so I thought, okay, well, I can help guide you into what you want. Wives will say, I want to buy my husband a cigar, but it's too intimidating. So I thought, okay, it's about an experience. This is what I love about this kind of an event. It's what I love about the shops, is we launched online, obviously. I have a big online platform, it's a media company. But I said, I want to be in the shops. Abe was kind enough to take us to his very successful shops. I said, I want to be in the shops because the cigar culture is about being in person. It's about sitting with someone for an hour. It's about a real conversation. It's going to disappear. It's ephemeral, as are all things in this material world. And so I want to cultivate that experience, which means you're new to cigars, try the dawn, now try the dusk. We then partnered with a great clothing company called Shepherd's. It's owned in part by Harrison Butker, the kicker for the Kansas City Chiefs. And I had a smoking jacket from when I was a teenager. My godmother got it for me.
Of course you had a smoking jacket as a teenager. Shocking.
This is a great smoking jacket, and I really like it. They're functional, you know, they keep the ash off, whatever. And so I partnered up with this company, and we said, let's make a smoking jacket. I took out basically all of my margin on it, because really good velvet is very expensive. And I said, we're going to do bespoke smoking jackets, Mayflower, very particular, limited run, but you're never going to get quality like this for anywhere near the price. Why did I do that? Am I a clothing maker? No. But I said, this is part of the experience. Same thing with the accessories, the cutters. I want it to be the specific kind of cutter I use. I'll recommend it to you. And so that's, I think, what Mayflower is bringing, is cultivating an experience. Cigars, not just as a great commodity, but as a kind of way of life, to force you to sit, to think, to have a great conversation, to go into a shop, to be part of a community. That's what we're after, and that's why we're so excited now to be into retail.
Let's go away from cigars for just a moment. What I enjoy about you so much is your willingness to have conversations with people who you don't necessarily share the same opinion with on certain things, but maybe not everything. But, I mean, whether it's my Facebook feed, my Apple News feed, we are living in what is being just overwhelmingly described as a divided country. Everything is divided. And it's not just politics. It's, of course, Democrat, Republican, conservative, liberal, but then also Nicaragua versus Dominican cigars. Or is it plume or is it mold? Or, you know, I mean, these constant, if I like dogs, that means that I hate cats. And if I hate cats, then I must, you know, all of this stuff. And I just wonder from your perspective, is there a future where we will be able to get back to being able to disagree on certain things and at the same time still be able to be friends and still sit down and enjoy a cigar together? Does that future exist to you?
It certainly does. And I don't only say it because we're all smoking cigars at a cigar event, but the kind of culture that you get in a cigar lounge is really key to this, actually. Because I had this fear, mild fear, when we launched Mayflower, which is, are my politics going to be a problem? Now, I know most cigar smokers are a little bit more to the right, but still, there are plenty of Democrats and liberals who smoke cigars. Michael Jordan said Republicans wear sneakers too. And so I said, is that going to be a problem? And I thought, no. You know, I've been to about 1 billion cigar lounges in my life. When I land, I travel all over to give speeches and things. And before I look up the hotel, before I look up the restaurant, I look up where's the nearest cigar lounge if I have an hour.
Don't we all?
Of course. And I go in, and I would say the cigar culture is about 3/4 conservative, 1/4 liberal. But in my old one lounge I used to go to a lot in LA, it was flipped. It was actually mostly liberal and a little bit conservative. But it's different in a cigar lounge. I always say, cigar Democrats, I can talk to cigar Democrats. That's very different than the kind of purple-haired lady down the street throwing firebombs at you. Totally different, right? And so I said, well, why is that? Well, it's because if you walk into a cigar lounge, you share something in common, you share a love in common, you share a kind of behavior, a kind of mutual respect. And so that's, politically, if you want to zoom out beyond a cigar, that's what one needs to have, is a restoration of the sense of the common good, of a common mission, kinship with your fellow countrymen, and a recognition that reasonable minds can disagree. And that when people come to different conclusions, it is in part because they're maybe pursuing a good, they're just a little mistaken in their first principles. And so if you can begin with that, not with ideology, not with some issue or that issue or whatever, but if you begin with, okay, we're Americans, we have to live together, we're on the same ship, okay, and we're either going to get to our destination or we're going to sink together, then I think you can start to work through some of those problems. But you have to begin with that. You have to begin with the political virtue of love.
Michael, I wish we had more time. It was so great to sit and chat with you. Michael Knowles, Mayflower Cigars. Ladies and gentlemen, a big round of applause. And your first great smoke Let's hope it will not be your last. Big round of applause for Michael Knowles, please.
Thank you guys so much. Thank you. Pleasure to be with you.
We're heading to the beach for another Twisted Tea drop. We're surprising real Twisted Tea superfans who love the smooth and refreshing taste of Twisted Tea Hard Iced Tea. Twisted Tea tastes like real iced tea because it's made with real brewed tea. And with 5% alcohol, get ready to turn off your phone in the sun all day long. Twisted Tea Hard Iced Tea. Keep it twisted.
Whoops, your cousin. From Boston. I did not see that coming. Anyway, Sam Adams Wicked Hazy IPA. Juicy, right? Can we not tell my mom about this?
Welcome back to the Great Smoke 2025 Renaissance Revival. See? All you guys who said I didn't get into the spirit of things, there you go. As I walk by, you must say, hello, my Lord, now. That's it, okay? Hello, my Lord. There you go. All right. We got another raffle coming up. All right, but before we do that, I'm going to go into a segment that's almost becoming Great Smoke tradition at this point. I'd like to call our dear friend William Cooper and our shipping manager, Rick Nunn, up on the main stage. Come on. So William Cooper now is becoming a regular on the Great Smoke stage, and Rick Nunn joined our team. So everybody who's here, if you're here and you order from us online, raise your hand or shout. All right. Rick heads the fine team that's back in the corner at our warehouse, at our fulfillment center, to get all your packages out. So we're going to have him come on up. Come on. There you go. Come on, buddy. Come on, Rick. So Rick, when we were doing this last year, Rick had just started in the warehouse, really didn't get to see it. So this is the first time he's seeing this event. And just so you know, there's probably a few thousand people watching this at home right now. What's your opinion on the first Great Smoke?
This is beyond impressive. I love being able to see and meet everybody that we actually service. So it's going to make it a little bit sweeter come Monday morning.
All right, I told you the feels, right? Rick kept asking me, you're going to be there all week? What are you doing all week? And Coop, always a pleasure. Nobody new here.
Wow, look at this. Look at this. Everybody's happy. Everybody's happy. This is great.
So Coop has been forming a bad habit. So most of you who follow me and know me, know I have this thing. I make bets. I made a bet with Eric Espinosa earlier, and as much as he thought he was right, he wasn't willing to bet on it. But we bet usually small denominations, $1, $5. But if you lose, you have to sign it. You were right, Abe. I was wrong. And I have a collection of these bills, right? Can we get the collection of these bills up on the screen, Jamie? Well, hold on, leave that picture. That's Sal Fontana, one of my mentors, literally before I got into this industry. I love you, Sal. I hope you're watching. But Sal and I, this is how this tradition started. We would constantly say, you want to bet, you want to bet, you want to bet, you want to bet, but nobody ever won anything. So that's when this tradition started about 20 years ago where, all right, we're going to sign a dollar bill. It started with Sal. There's probably about over a dozen of his bills in my collection. But this is my collection as of a year ago, okay? These are the bills I've won. And the current stack consists of one $50 bill, 22 $20 bills, 24 $10 bills, 75 $5 bills, 48 $1 bills. It's 170 wins to approximately 8 losses. Not a bad record. So William Cooper, who signed a bill on stage last year. I think we got that photo? Yep. He signed a bill last year, decided he wanted to do it again. So William Cooper lost another bet to me. What was it, $1 or $5? I can't. $5, another $5 to the collection. Do we want to share the story? Do you remember why you lost?
I remember.
Go ahead.
Abe and I had the opportunity to attend Carlito Fuente's birthday. And we met before the event, and we were trying to guess what time Carlito would come. Because Carlito is on Carlito time. So I think I said he'll be 2 hours late. Abe says I'll take that bet, that he'll be sooner. And Carlito, second year in a row, cost me another bet. 2 years
in a row. Let's not make it a tradition. Here's your marker. There you go. You want my back or you got it? There you go. At least I could do it to be helpful, right? So Rick, being a very new employee to Smoke Inn, look, everybody knows if you want to, thank you, sir. If you want to, what we really, really hone everybody on our team is we try to provide literally the best customer service experience we can. And we go to whatever ends and lengths. And as you know, there's always people that you're just not going to please. It happens, you know. You do it. Sometimes it's demoralizing. And when Rick just started, you know, he was having a hard time with his customers, so I got involved. I wrote this whole thing. And basically, the guy wasn't happy no matter what we did. And I said, don't worry about it. And he's like, oh, he's never going to shop with us again. I said, he'll be back. Oh, are you kidding me? Did you read that nasty email? He'll never shop with us again. He'll be back. He goes, I said, you want to bet? He goes, yeah, I'll bet. Leaving? You want to bet? He goes, yeah, I'll bet. I said, okay. I said, how long do I get? He says, he's never come back. I said, will you give me a year? He says, yeah. I said, okay. I forgot about the bet. And I can't remember what came up, but like 8 months later, I said, I got a little post. Oh, I never checked up on this. That guy ordered 3 weeks later. 3 weeks later. So, oh, you got a dollar bill. There you go, buddy. We discovered this 6 months ago. I have yet to have gotten my dollar bill. So I figure what better way to drag him up on stage, right? There you go. Got to have a little fun while we're up here. Coop, as always, as much as I love you, I hope I don't see you on stage again next year. I appreciate it. Yeah. There's nothing like the first one. That's the first one from him. There's nothing like the first one. I appreciate you, Rick. Thank you. If you need anything shipped, go see Rick and his team back in the corner. People are shipping their packages home. You don't have to carry it. They'll get it out to you. It'll go out right away on Monday. Cooper, love you. You want to say something?
Thanks, bud.
Oh, anytime.
So, Abe, you're one of the most generous people I know, and I think in the spirit of giving, I wanted to present you. I made a donation in your name this morning. This is to the Kids Cancer Foundation. So, yep. Thank you. No problem.
So, most people don't know this, but our event's always been tied to charity since year one. And we've been doing it now for the Kids Cancer Foundation for years. We donate a large portion of the net proceeds from the ticket sales to the Kids Cancer Foundation, and they, you know, it's just something we want to do, give back to our community, and that was very nice of you to do, Coop. I appreciate it. Thank you. Thank you. I appreciate it. All right. Now, I won my prize. Now it's time to see who wants to win prizes out there. It's raffle time. All right, for those of you at home just joining us once again, whether you're here live or virtual, you're automatically entered in the raffle. If you're watching us virtually and you win, we will contact you early next week via email to coordinate shipping. There'll be possible shipping fees, and we'll get your prize out to you. If you're here live, Pay attention, please. We'd like to get the prizes out of here and not take them back with us. The first prize, how fitting, is from Mayflower Cigars and Michael Knowles and his team. It's a no-game bundle, candle, and it's a book, Speechless, and it's not autographed. I would take it back to him right now and have him sign it if you win while you're here. In fact, Marissa, if you're listening and you're in the corner, if a virtual person wins this, why don't we take the book to Michael Knowles to get it signed for the virtual winner at home, okay? All right, let's see who that winner is. Scott Lango, we know that man, from New Jersey, virtual. Scott, congratulations. We'll get that book signed. If Marissa hears me, I'll make sure it gets done. We'll get that package out to you. Prize number 2, it's the Smoke In Barrel Pick, Elijah Craig from 2 years ago, so it'll be 2023, I believe, and an Elijah Craig lamp. All right, these are collector items. Let's see who the lucky winner of these items are. Audrey Goffman. Audrey Goffman, was that live or virtual? Anybody remember? Live? Audrey Goffman, if you're in the building, I hope it's Audrey. You have won. Please come down to the right over here by the side of the stage, and we will get... There we go. There you are. It is Audrey. It's that crazy font. Come down over here and we'll get you that prize. Next one. Well, everybody, let's do it at once. Hey, Audrey! Next prize is a box of 15th anniversary from EPC Cigars and a cutter and a lighter set. And let's see who's going to win this lucky prize right now. Jesus. Kevin Regan? Kevin, is that a K? Kevin Regan. Kevin Regan, New Jersey. Wow, that font is awful. Kevin Regan from New Jersey, virtually at home. Congratulations. We will get you that prize. And prize number 4 from the fine folks over at Perdomo Cigars. A signed box of 30th anniversary and a Perdomo Cigar. That looks like an XI1 cutter and ashtray. Let's see who the lucky winner for this prize is. John Lancaster from Texas. John Lancaster at Texas, you have won virtually at home. Congratulations, my friend. We will get you your prize. And the last and final prize, Rambo Electric Off-Road Bike from Davidoff Cigars. Okay, that looks interesting. Let's see who the lucky winner of this bike is. John Zervopoulos from Florida, live. John Zervopoulos. John, if you're here in the building, head your way down to the side of the stage, please, and claim your prize. All right.